My mother rented this small ranch-style home out back in 2001. The house is very old, and in fact, it had been abandoned before our landlord bought it and rented it out. The house was so small, we often referred it as a hut. I don't know the details as I was only 11 years old when we moved in, but apparently an it was abandoned for 8 years after an old woman who previously owned the house had died in it. He never told us how she died, but all he told us was she died, and that was it. When we first moved in, I didn't get a good feeling. It just felt like someone was watching me through the window from inside. I felt that way every time we pulled up, whenever we were home for the night and fixing to come inside, even when I was outside playing in the yard or I was hanging out with my new friends that lived next door. It felt like someone was again watching me from the inside of the house. And I knew it wasn't my mom or my older brother, as they both hid in their rooms while my younger brother played outside with me. One day, I was exploring the yard and I found two cement slabs on the grass, just randomly hidden throughout the yard. The name Sherry and the date 1969 was obviously written on the slab while it was still fresh with cement. 1969, good date. Just want to mention that. And if I remember correctly, there was another slab that read Frank was here, and I believe that it was dated for 1969 also. I thought it was pretty cool and frightening at the same time, as I knew there was something in that house, and perhaps Sherry was her name. Spring break rolls by, and these two boys that attended Hamilton Middle School were walking by the house and being nosy spectators. I guess they were shocked that someone had moved in, and they started talking to me about the house. I don't know how true this is because boys will be boys, but apparently they found a way to get inside the house when it was abandoned, and allegedly it was once a two-story home. Then half, uh, then half of it was torn down and condensed to a one-story. They apparently got it into the attic, and there was old furniture, and they knew about Sherry and Frank because apparently one of the walls of the attic there was a carving or something that written with ink that read Sherry and Frank best friends forever. Again, I don't know the credibility behind what these young men were telling me because I was too scared personally to go up in the attic myself. The new friend I made next door, their mother told me that she felt freaked out by the house, and she confirmed that Sherry and Frank were best friends. While Sherry lived in my house, Frank had lived in hers. I still don't know the history behind Sherry and Frank. I would desperately love to find out and know. But for years within the house, there lies a mysterious story of a friendship and possibly love that I would like to know. Also, within the house, Sherry, if that who she was, would steal things and they would show up in the most unusual places. Sherry also frequently turned on the bathroom sink and would turn it off every time I ran in there to see what was going on. My mother even swears up and down that she feels like someone was sitting at the foot of her bed every night, which is why she always kept her TV on, and to this day, she will sleep with her door open, even if you happen to know anything about this house. Please let me know because the mystery has been killing me for the last 18 years. Wow, that's a great story. Moving on. On the summer of 1996, I rented out a room in the upper apartment at 4 Kirk St. in Peterborough. This house is a beautiful old Victorian red brick home that stands out on the corner of Kirk and Rubridge St. and has multiple rental units. I was subletting room for student friends who left home during the summer months but wanted to keep the apartment for the following year. My friend told me it was haunted, but I didn't take her seriously. First, on the first month, it was pretty quiet. But then after an incident in which a bat came in through an open window one night, we decided to keep all of the windows shut from that time on since. Most windows has no screws. I can't speak for now, but then the the windows had no screws because they were old and had to be pushed up with a gap to let air flow in. Not long after the bat win- Not long after the bat incident, a swarm of flies appeared covering the bottom of every window in the kitchen. I didn't notice them until they were there. They covered all of the windows in the kitchen. This was odd because we couldn't figure out how they got in and in such a large number. Since we have been keeping windows shut, they were on the inside of the windows about a week oh, after I awoke alone in the house as my housemate was at work. While taking a shower, I heard a loud boom in the bathroom that sounded like all the shelving came crashing down. But when I pulled back the curtains, nothing nothing was moved. Even though the noise was right there in the bathroom, I moved to the kitchen to quickly eat breakfast. When a radio came on, full blast, in the attic, spontaneously from my housemate's room. She was at work. I walked to the door of the bottom of the attic stairs to the bottom stairs. The radio switched off. There was a heavy wood door at the entrance of the attic. There 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 was pushed open and left against the hallway wall. There was carpet underneath it and it was snug. No one ever used that door. It always left pushed up against the wall. I left for the summer class and came home early to find that the attic door had been slammed tightly shut. It stood out because it was never closed and no one had been there but me. I called my housemate at work and told her I was leaving. I refused to go back because it seemed whatever was happening was escalating. So I packed all my stuff and moved in with my friends for the remainder of the summer. When I told my friends who moved back in the following school year, she said that she told me that it was haunted, and her experience where her CDs would fly off her dresser top across her bedroom. She would pile them back and they would fly off again, etc. They would hear a disembodied voice sternly shout out the name of the roommate that slept in the attic while they were all watching TV in the living room, and they had been orbs sighted. My fiance also saw an orb one night in the hallway while the lights were all off. We were in my room and he was facing the doorway, which had a glass window above it. He said he saw a white ball zip past the linker at the door and zip past against